On today's show, it's an animated battle featuring the craziest cartoon carnage of this millennium. A world-bending show centered around a mismatched pair is taking on the topically minded, socially unconscious adventures of four Colorado lads.
Oh my god! I killed Kitty! You bastard!
That's right, folks. Rick and Morty are gonna go on down to South Park. Will they get to unwind or leave their woes behind? We're gonna have ourselves a time either way on this episode of Versus, and this humble host without temptation will be pacing you through these 5 rounds that will determine our winner. Round 1, Tomatometer/Audience Score. Round 2, Ratings. Round 3, Characters. Round 4, Iconic Moments. And then we'll do a wildcard round to settle the score once and for all. Or at least until next season. Folks, this is the Versus I've been waiting for my whole life. And not just because it's a matchup between 2 of my favorite shows. Anytime you go to work and are not only allowed to say Mr. Poopy Butthole, but it's an actual requirement, you're in for a good day. Unless you're a janitor, I guess. Clean up on aisle fun. Let's get it on.
Wait a minute, what?
Away we go!
My god, this is even bigger than the final battle in the Lord of the Rings movie! It's like 10 times bigger than that battle!
Round 1, Tomatometer/Audience Score. It's true, these programs are super successful, firmly lodged in the cultural zeitgeist, and have begat countless threads on Reddit.
Okay.
But when you sit down to watch South Park or Rick and Morty, did you like it? Odds say yes. Both shows are fresh, according to both the Tomatometer and the Audience Score. How fresh, you ask? So fresh that neither show even had one rotten season.
God damn it, I love myself.
Until South Park finally dipped below the fresh line and into fresh adjacent territory when season 21 notched 54% as an average on the Tomatometer.
You have to overdo it in today's society, Stan. You can't be nuanced and subtle anymore, else critics go, wow, what was the point of that?
I will say season 22 rebounded nicely with a 77%, only to watch season 23 tumble back down to 50%.
This is like that little Greta girl with the global warming. Buzzkill!
All told, South Park boasts an impressive average of 82% over all 23 seasons and 88% as its average audience score. But what about the movie, you ask? Well, it might not have been fair to include the movie here, but guess what? Did not affect a darn thing. Those averages are the exact same with or without the movie. Nuts, right? I know. But not as nutty as that Christmas when Morty's dad, Jerry, finds out why his dad wears a Superman costume in the bedroom. TMI.
Happy human holiday, Dad.
That episode occurred during season 1, which set the high mark for Rick and Morty on the Tomatometer at 96%.
Man, he sure says bitch a lot.
You can run, but you can't hide, bitch.
An effort that would be matched by season 3. Clearly, this show's report card is a little bit better than Rick's, as its overall average across all seasons is a downy fresh 94% on the Tomatometer.
Listening to me, Morty? Homework is stupid. The whole point is to get less of it.
South Park gets more competitive with the audience score, but it's still bested by Team Sanchez-Smith with their 93% total average. But props to South Park, as their debut season was 85% on the audience score, then it quickly rose to a dominant reign of 94 to 96% from seasons 4 through 9. Meanwhile, Rick and Morty kicked off with an incredible 3-season run, but season 4 saw it slip all the way down to 84%. And as South Park will tell you, you take the good, you take the bad. No, I'm being told that's facts of life. Okay. But if your bad is super fresh, you're still doing something right. Mrs. Garrett would approve. South Park continues to muster impressive responses from critics and audiences, and it certainly has the tenure track over Rick and Morty. But for a show like R&M to open with such a strong effort amongst a crowded field of more adult-themed animated shows, thanks, South Park. Oh wait, I guess The Simpsons already did that first. That's enough to give Rick and Morty the win in round number 1, and it's 1-0 in favor of the show that sometimes stars Shrimply Pibbles. I had a bet with the producer, Alex, that I'd nail that in one take. Boom!
You put your right foot forward and your left foot back and slide around like on a Nordic track.
Round 2, Ratings. Okay, Rick and Morty, you may have turned some eyebrows with that round 1 win, but does that come with eyeballs? As in, is anyone watching your show? And if so, do they also find Rick's constantly shifting green goop on his chin as funny as I do? It never gets old.
You can be very inconsiderate sometimes.
The answer to at least one of those questions is yes. In fact, Rick and Morty is averaging 1.89 million viewers per episode through its first 4 seasons, and that number has been bolstered by a record-setting season 3 debut that set a new standard on Adult Swim.
Boom! Big reveal. I'm a pickle.
All of season 3 has the high per episode mark at 2.51 million viewers. However, season 4 set the low bar, 1.52 million views per episode. And sure, nowadays Comedy Central may be easier to find or more accessible than Cartoon Network, but back in 1997 when South Park debuted, different story entirely. Yeah, old 249 on my DirecTV wasn't so simple. In fact, was DirecTV even a thing? All I know is my family didn't have that cable package, but season 1 of South Park still landed 3.36 million viewers per episode back then. And how about season 2? We don't have reliable data for that. Or season 3 or 4, or, it's just going to be quicker to get to season 11, where our numbers return and remind us of season 1. 3.3 million folks was the average for the 11th season of South Park, and the show has seen a relatively steady downward decline to its 22nd season, which has the low mark of 1.4 million viewers per episode. No doubt a giant chunk of both shows' ratings loss as they get longer in the tooth is due to the rise of streaming giants housing marquee shows like the one with Pickle Rick, or the one where a bully unknowingly eats his parents. Tough lunch there, Scott Tenorman.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
But the good news for the rest of Colorado is staying power matters in this round, and having 19 more seasons than Rick and Morty gives South Park plenty of pudding in which to find proof. And although season 20 of South Park only averaged 1.71 million viewers overall, that season's debut saw the program's highest rated episode in over a decade. Do you remember it? If not, here, try these berries.
Remember Tatooine? Remember the torture droid? I remember Goonies. I loved Goonies.
Member berries or not, the ratings data indicates that South Park has been a consistently popular force in entertainment for over 20 seasons that spans 4 decades. And now, it's time for another fun fact. In 1997, 9.1 million homes carried Comedy Central, based in large part on the inaugural success of South Park. That number increased to 50 million by 1998. Hey, I love when fun facts also indicate which way I'm leaning in any given round. Fish sticks are on the house because this one goes to South Park and we're tied at 1-1.
Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo, he loves me and I love you. Christmas poo? What the hell is Christmas poo?
Round 3, character. How does one possibly begin a character round about a show that has bestowed upon us 4 blessed seasons with infinite protagonists, antagonists, and anti-protagonists?
Did your dad write this game?
Sub-question, how does one accomplish said task for a show packed with 23 seasons of riches? The answer is simple. Talk like the Micro Machines guy. Rick Sanchez, Morty Smith, Beth Smith, Jerry Smith, Summer Smith, Mr. Poopy Butthole, Photography Raptor, Mr. Meeseek, Squanchy, Scary Terry, the Lawnmower Dog, Mr. Bird Person, Gazzer Buzzerfield, and King Jellybean. I missed up the Garfield a little bit, but you know what? It just occurred to me, an easier way to do this might just be rattling off a few characters I really enjoy from each show. Conveniently enough, Rick and Morty has Rick and Gazzer Buzzerfield. There we go. Okay, I like Morty too. Rick and Morty's Doc Brown-Marty McFly relationship is a nice way to convince your friends to watch the show for the first time, and once they do, they're bound to get hooked on R&M's endlessly entertaining conflict. Even Rick's burps have their own subdivision on YouTube. And yes, I might be more drawn to the show because there is a tinge of hope with Rick's relentless exploring and a dash of faith from Morty's plucky decisions to tag along despite his near constant reluctance.
We need a vacation.
And here's why Rick and Morty could compete with South Park in this round. We not only know who these characters are, but we just might care about them too. Sure, most of the time the action flies too fast and the jokes land too furious for us to keep up.
It's not all bad, though. They were spared having to see their grown son wear a whistle. God damn! Thanks, noob.
But part of the draw of Rick and Morty is that we're rooting for them. You too, bizarro, foul-mouthed Garfield.
Now give me my fucking enchilada.
Hey, Rick, did they use Bill Murray for this?
South Park's cast of characters is as deep and wide as the rich tradition of the Denver Broncos. Right off the bat, it's surprisingly Randy who gets the most belly laughs out of me. It's also hard for me to resist Barb Brady, and I'll yearn for the days when Chef was Chef.
Oh, did they give you an anal probe?
And his parents gave money to the Loch Ness Monster. It still makes me giggle.
And the mother bent down and said, I need about $3.50.
But our four boys headline the show, and with them comes an interesting dilemma. By this time, we know exactly how Cartman, Kyle, Stan, and Kenny will react to any given situation. The results are usually hilarious. Kyle and Stan truly hate Cartman, and Kenny usually hangs around for most of the episode, leaving the strength of South Park not necessarily with the characters themselves, but of the frequently news-related action going on in any given take. Cartman is very funny to me, and I often turn to the show when I need a good laugh, but I can also acknowledge that Eric is probably a horrible influence on the real kids watching.
I wasn't saying anything about that culture. I was just saying the city smells like ass.
I don't have any of those, and I don't blame a cartoon for the world's problems, but hearing what comes out of his mouth time and time again could be construed as a negative influence for a youngling.
I'm talking, of course, about ginger kids. Oh, sick. Gross.
As I wrote that, I looked up at my TV and Rick had just shot someone in the head. So let's just all agree that these two animated shows probably should not be taken all that seriously. And tell your kids the same.
I know, everyone wants people they like to be right. That's why popular people are f***ing dumb.
The show is called South Park for a reason. It's literally the whole damn town, but Rick and Morty have gone to the ends of the earth, amongst other dimensions, to introduce us to a bevy of unique side characters. And while many of the South Park tertiary players are simply stereotypes, every new alien we meet in Rick and Morty opens a world of possibilities. It's only been 4 seasons, but the attachment I feel to the characters in Rick and Morty rivals that of any show I've watched, much less the one that I go to for big laughs from 4 foul-mouthed Utes.
Did you say Utes?
Yeah, 2 Utes.
I'm surprising even myself here, but I'm going with Rick and Morty in round 3. According to creators Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland, the show might go 7 seasons total. And while I'd lobby for them to add on, say, 30 more seasons, I could quit now and be happy with my decision. Big win for the underdog. Now let's see what the next round has in store.
Welcome to your reckoning, baby! Well, it's official. I had too much to drink last night.
Round 4, iconic moments. A celebrated poet once authored the line, "Forever is composed of moments." It was either Emily Dickinson or Boz Scaggs. I don't have the intel. I was in college. Look, when I was in college, I was way too busy giggling at South Park to study history or literature. Yes, my dorm had what mom and dad did not, Comedy Central. So let's start with that first moment on the first South Park short that really got the kids talking and the parents nervous. Jesus fought Santa Claus. It happened. The spirit of Christmas only grew from there, and the show was just getting started with manufacturing recurring memories. Oh my God! They killed Kenny! Over and over and over again and again and again.
Kenny didn't die. Holy.
Whether it was mysterious cow disappearances or the very festive result of a bodily function,
Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo. Haven't you guys ever heard of it?
South Park wasted no time in letting all of us viewers know what this show was going to do is break all the rules, or just ignore them entirely.
Oh my God, what kind of television have you kids been watching?
Just the news.
Similarly, Rick and Morty thrusted us right smack dab in the middle of an otherworldly adventure from the start. Then it picked up the speed. Season 1 is littered with great horror film homages, from Scary Terry to the Cronenberg reality that holds up as maybe my favorite of all the alternate Rick and Mortys. Is that just me? But the horror also got real with a very shocking encounter from King Jellybean. It was as disturbing as it was controversial, but also served as a clear signal that Rick and Morty isn't here just for laughs, and it's a sign of the elevated esteem in which we now hold animation. Neither one of these shows is ever going to be mistaken for kiddie programs, but can they actually teach us adults and reinforce our own moral fibers? Other all-time highlights for this Rick and Morty fan would be the time Rick lives a whole life in the arcade, the Goodnight Moonman song from Morty Night Run, and can any nugget enthusiast forget the Szechuan sauce incident that inspired a global demand for that delicious concoction? Mwah!
And now it's gone. This is the only place we're gonna be able to try it is in my memory.
Rick, you're doing this bit while your brain is melting.
Okay, all right.
As someone who frequently checks YouTube comments at his own peril, I found personal glee in the toxic Rick and Morty episode from season 3. If you've ever put out a YouTube vid, it will soothe your soul.
You think that's funny? You gotta have a sense of humor about these things. Oh wait, you can't. You're literally incapable of seeing the bigger picture.
And yes, South Park has always seemed to have something to say about society and the toxicity that can arise with any fan base, but its chief job is to do so with consistent laughter.
Oh, wow, it's the Avengers!
That's right.
Oh, and Honey Boo Boo! Kids, come see the green Honey Boo Boo costume!
Whereas Rick and Morty populates its cast with celebrity guest stars, South Park prefers to poorly imitate A-listers, and then completely humiliate them. Tom Cruise getting trapped in a closet, Russell Crowe's rampage around the world, Benifer, even my beloved Washington football team franchise's owner Dan Snyder was rightfully skewered in an episode. More like that, Trey and Matt.
When I named my company Washington Redskins, it was out of deep appreciation for your team and your people.
It's not a question of if you're laughing at South Park, it's just a question of how icky you feel afterwards. But sometimes the show just gets flat out hysterical. Kyle's dad living his fantasy of becoming a dolphin ranks way up there for me, as does the entire World of Warcraft adventure the boys go on. Oh, and anytime Satan pops up, I just preemptively prepare for knee slaps, especially if it's courtesy of an Al Gore summon in an attempt to stop Man Bear Pig.
Dude, Satan's not gonna go with us to the line.
Very well, Al Gore.
The seasons piling up on each other do give South Park a decisive advantage in this round, but Rick and Morty is certainly in step with its much older cousin as far as iconic moments through 4 seasons. South Park does get the win in this round, but I want to stress, it's not just because they've had so many more episodes worth of opportunity to give us great memories, it's also because one of those indelible instances involved uniting 3 religious symbols into the Van Halen logo. Honorable mention will go to Mr. Meeseeks for sounding decidedly hot for teachery with his spoken word cadence, but it is South Park taking the round, and we're tied again at 2-2.
Yeah. We did it, you guys.
And now it's time for the Wildcard Round, Best Episode. Science tells us that time plus pressure equals diamonds. And while Rick and Morty takes plenty of time in their meticulous process of crafting each and every episode, South Park loves the pressure of only having a week to crank out a new adventure. 2 very different methods of production pacing have yielded astoundingly similar results. Both shows seem to have multiple episodes every season that earn the right to be in the discussion for Best Episode Ever. And that's what this round will come down to. What's the best 22 minutes you got? The 30 minutes with commercial interruption that encapsulates the essence of your program. I will be selecting each show's champion episode with some help from the old social media machine Twitter. I asked my dozens of fans and thousands of bots which Rick and Morty episode they favored and what South Park ditty is their fave. After consulting ad nauseum with the Bluebird, my own thoughts, and especially Molly the Wonder Dog, I've arrived at this conclusion. Rick and Morty's episode will be The Vat of Acid, and South Park's episode will be Super Fun Time. They're both great, worthy of representing their franchises, and Super Fun Time is one of the few South Park titles I can utter without getting canceled.
Ugh, this is gonna suck.
Now it's my gig to analyze each handcrafted piece of entertainment and see who gets the W. Oh, and if you're keeping score at home, this round will determine the winner of the show. And if you're not keeping score at home, it's 2-2. It's really not that difficult.
What is this face you're making?
Rick and Morty have the Vat of Acid episode. This season 4 gem is the perfect sample of Rick and Morty brilliance, and not just because it references multiple other classic episodes like Pickle Rick. Here, the intrepid mismatched pair have a plan that goes a bit awry, like most of their adventures. Rick sets up one vat of acid that is really just a bunch of Mountain Dew, and to fool any evildoers, he equips it with breathing devices and fake bones to unleash. Where it really heats up is the challenge Morty presents to his grandpa. Can you make a save point that will keep their progress in the event that they should meet their demise at any time?
Oh my God, here we go.
It's a good idea, Rick!
It's so genius because it's ingrained in Morty's video game generation head, and the rest of that episode plays out like any of us would want to if we could save our life's progress. Not only does Vat of Acid feature the best use of an Eric Clapton tune since Goodfellas, it also has one of the funniest sequences in show history with the extended plane crash alive scene. To include the entire run of a relationship within something on the level of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, that's pure genius. A great acid vat callback at the end puts the cherry on top of a sundae that reminds everyone why Rick and Morty is so brilliant. Subversive humor mixed with biting satire and genuine storytelling glee. Plus that Game of Thrones joke crushed me.
What's that cool thing you did without me again? The awesome thing? I guess you wanted a dragon? Unforgettable.
God,
timely, too. You really got in on that Game of Thrones fever right at the peak.
So now it's time for South Park to step up with its episode nominee, Super Fun Time. I partially picked this one because the Rick and Morty side of my brain is screaming that the playing field needs to be leveled. So South Park has so many potential players to put into this ballgame, I did make a concession. My favorite episode of South Park is actually a trilogy called Imagination Land. It's mind-blowingly hilarious and amazingly intricate, but it's 3 episodes. So I'm going to toss that one out of contention, along with the genius Game of Thrones run they did. You know, I think 30% of the reason I like Game of Thrones so much is because it's given us so much room for parody. Thank you, Dragons. But Super Fun Time is here not just to mock Lannisters, but also old-timey theme parks with a dash of Christmas action classics. Terrorists, reminiscent of Die Hard, take over a colonial recreation park while the class is on a field trip there. In addition to the problem of hijackers, the boys also realize we have another issue. None of the park employees will break character. Ever. Even when threatened with their life, they never break.
Storehand, you ever heard of this fancy schmancy phone?
No. We ain't got a phone in our time.
Dude, they just shot a guy in the face.
As a kid who grew up partially in colonial Williamsburg, this episode really hit home for me, and I'm starting to realize why my cable package didn't have South Park. I was living in Williamsburg in the 1700s. Cartman and Butters manage to escape the park before the bad guys show up, as the hand-holding pair favor the Dave & Buster's-like party center next door. Meanwhile, Burger King robbing European ne'er-do-wells arrive, execute park employees out of sheer frustration, and are only felled by the brilliance of some 4th graders. It's one of the best South Park episodes ever because it peppers in topical humor, but doesn't lean on it to carry the whole show. Instead, it favors the tried and true formula of Cartman's rebelliousness, Butters' innocence, and Stan and Kyle's good nature. Mix in the knee-slapping, guffaw-inducing commitment to their job of the park employees and the terrorists who, again, robbed a Burger King. And you have one whopper of an episode. See, you got it? Okay, we can move on.
Pioneer Village is now closed for the day. Head back to your wagons and have a safe trip home. Listen, if anyone still wants to know, the phone is in the administration building. You dial 9 to get out, and there's actually a back exit behind the horse troughs. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming. We did it, guys! Let's go!
Both episodes are fantastic on their own and could be an entry point for newer fans. But South Park's Super Fun Time gets the nod for me, only because I laughed a tiny bit harder. No disrespect to Rick and Morty or their many acid vat tricks, because it can now, after just 4 seasons, stand toe-to-toe with any comedic show and look it in the eye. But for today, South Park ain't blinking first.
Get the fuck out of here. Yes! Yes, I did it!
5 rounds is so fun and takes all the anxiety away from your dear host to make a tiebreaker decision. South Park is your winner. However, I suppose I could have Cronenberged this whole show and made a 6th round about cultural impact or grossest bodily function gag, but all the Szechuan sauce on Earth Dimension C-137 couldn't make up for all the good and the bad and the ugly and hilariousness that South Park has bestowed upon us. Rick and Morty's marriage of over-the-top laughs with subtle humor is why I can't resist the show. It's the attention to detail, the intricate thought that goes into every frame, as evidenced by tons of tiny callbacks only noticeable upon dozens of rewatches. Luckily, I'm here to roll up my sleeves and do all that hard work that needs getting done. South Park has just busted my gut beyond repair too many times. Not just giggles, or laughs, or guffaws, but I'm talking that rare complete annihilation of all moral code when it comes to bodily functions contained during a chuckle. If you want to argue it's offensive or has crossed the line way too many times, I'd struggle to find a counter to your points. But my point is that the show is here to see how far it can take the audience and how hard it can make us laugh in the process. The creation of each episode is such a hurried affair that there are some missed opportunities, some ideas that feel half-baked, but by and large, it's the show that feels safe because it is the antithesis of a safe space. Everyone will be lampooned by Trey Parker and Matt Stone on their legacy show. And while the vitriol may not be dished out in equal doses, it rarely fails to achieve its ultimate goal, shocking us into unstoppable fits of giggling. Rick and Morty deserves to be celebrated, and new episodes are regarded as fans as the precious commodities that they should be. But South Park should likewise not be taken for granted. It has in fact done things no other cartoon, not even you, The Simpsons, has gotten away with. South Park is your winner, and I'm your host, Mark Ellis. Thanks for tuning into Versus, everyone. Hey, YouTubers, make sure you click that like button, the notification bell, and comment with what your favorite episodes of each program are and which one you prefer. Now, let's all enjoy some of Chef's chocolate salty balls. Not sure if I can say that. Okay, well, stay tuned for ball fondlers. Probably can't say that either. You know what? Pickles are delicious. Good night.